Hello, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Financial Friday. It's good to be on with you. I haven't been on for a couple of weeks. It's a busy time, tax season, and everything else, and all other projects that we're working on. But today, I wanted to come to you to talk about a topic that kind of hit close to home with a client of mine who unfortunately um, passed away, and so now their spouse is a widow. So we wanted to talk today a little bit about how to protect your finances if you become widowed. Losing a spouse, of course, can be very emotional. It's a difficult time, um, and it's very hard sometimes to make life decisions when you're grieving and missing your spouse. But it's typical that your financial matters, they often need immediate attention. So I'm just going to go through a few points of some things that you should take care of if unfortunately you find yourself in this predicament, or if someone you know is in this predicament and maybe you can help them along with the process. So one of the first things that needs to happen when you find yourself widowed or somebody you know has become widowed is that they need to update their financial accounts. They'll need to change any registrations on any financial accounts that they may have had that would have been joint. Such ownership changes typically require for you to provide the institution that you are banking with a death certificate. So that's one of the points, one of the first points of things that you need to do.
How long does it normally take? Do you know, Rosaline, how long it normally takes to receive a death certificate so that you can start putting those notifications out there?
Usually within a week's time.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes even sometimes sooner, depending on where you're located.
Right.
And how long the turnaround time is. But typically, I think the funeral home will make those arrangements and get you the death certificate in
Okay.
a sufficient amount of time so that you can start changing over your financials.
Okay.
One of the other things is to divide or roll over your retirement assets. Pension and retirement account assets, all of those things are very tricky sometimes, and they have their own set of rules. But generally, upon the death of the person, usually they've been listed as a beneficiary. And so in this case, it's very, very important to make sure that the beneficiary information is accurate and up to date. Even if you have a will in place, it's still very important to make sure that the beneficiary on your retirement accounts will go to your spouse or who you want specifically to go to. Even for IRAs, the surviving spouse is usually entitled to their spouse's IRA assets. And if you inherit the spouse's IRA and roll it over into your own, you must start taking requirement minimum distributions from the account once you turn 72. Okay, this way you could avoid any penalties for having those funds in that account beyond the designated time. And you could face a 10% early withdrawal penalty if you take out money before age 59 and a half. So just be careful to keep in mind those two age requirements. Mm-hmm. Try not to keep it in over 72 and try not to withdraw before 59 and a half to avoid any penalties.
So in the tax season, this is really important for people to know if they do have money sitting still like that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. They will let you know that, hey, this money, they'll send you notices and so forth, and let you know, hey, you know, this has been in the account. You're about to approach this age. Start taking out money from your accounts. And
Right.
you
I
can
guess a
also,
lot of folks are thinking that's a good problem to have money sitting.
right? Definitely, definitely.
Uh-huh.
And there are
Okay.
other things that you can take it out and put it into if you don't want to make it an immediate liquid cash situation. You
Yeah.
know, so it
And
doesn't mean
also
that.
that's a good way if you're looking to maybe invest in some real estate or
Oh,
something like that. That's a good way to kind of use that money to increase your assets. Um, and just to kind of throw this in there, you guys know that we're coming up with our live event really coming up March 27th. We're looking forward to it. And we have one of our special guests, Corey Brown, who is a successful real estate investor. So we'll talk about that more later. But yeah, that's I just wanted to throw that in there because we're going to be talking about this and we're excited about it. So go ahead, Rosaline. I don't want to take you off the track here. Sorry.
oh, okay.
Okay.
So the third tenet is that you should adjust your income and your budget. Chances are when you're suddenly single, you may be taking a cut in your income. So there are certain things that you'll find that you'll need to cut back on. You know, start by listing your essential expenses, you know, your housing, your food, your insurance, transportation, you know, things of that nature. And make another list for discretionary expenses. Maybe you and your spouse ate out often, maybe you traveled often, maybe because you had this additional income, you bought things, you know, clothing, jewelry, and so try to match reliable sources of income, your salary, your social security, your pensions, to your essential expenses to see where you might trim down and where
Yeah.
you might use some more discretion regarding your spending. Okay. And we
Right.
always talk about on Financial Friday creating a budget. Uh oh, there goes the B word again.
I know.
The B word again. Yeah. But a budget checkup is always a good way to make sure that you're staying on course and that you won't find yourself in any unnecessary debt, especially at the
Can
law.
I tap in a little bit on the flip side of this? I mean, same vein a little bit. Like I've had clients who run into financial situations after they've taken out loans and
Mm-hmm.
they've asked, you know, like what's going to happen if I can't pay my debt back that I took out for my business. I mean, I know Rosaline's talking about if you lose a spouse or things happen, you know, because of death, but if you're still alive, you can run into problems with paying your debts. And so I just wanted to kind of chime in about if you have business loans and something has happened to your income, like your spouse passed away, and the spouse's income kind of is missing now in your budget, and you can't make payments on your debt, you really have to notify the lender, you know, when that situation happens, even if the spouse was not on the loan that you had, because you're still responsible and you depended on that spouse for other things that might affect you being able to pay your debts. And you don't want the creditors to come suing you, you know, for not paying your bills on time, because they can collect on your assets, which could be the assets that your spouse is leaving behind for you. So that can all kind of roll into falling in your lap if your spouse passes away and you have loans out there that you are responsible for, and now you're missing that income. So I just wanted to put that in there to you know, kind of let you know that the assets of your spouse and what they're leaving behind to you may be very important to you when you're running into a problem paying your bills back for your business.
Well, Barbara, what typically happens? What typically happens if someone loses that extra income and they have a loan? Do the creditors work with them?
They can work with you. You always have to kind of reach out to your creditor and let them know your new situation and the effects of the situation, and possibly they'll be able to work out a budget. Because what's going to happen if you don't pay your creditors back, they can collect on that loan, you know, and that can charge they can charge you penalties and interest and fees. And so you definitely want to reach out to the creditor. Don't bury your head in the sand over it if you know you're going to not be able to meet your obligations. I mean, usually they're likely to work with you, and they can even sometimes write off some loans eventually if they see that your assets are suffering or something drastically has happened. So yeah, definitely reach out to your creditor whenever you're running into a problem, so it won't end up snowballing and affecting your credit overall and your ability to borrow in the future, because it will definitely impact your personal credit and your assets if you stop paying your bills for your business.
Right. So the
Okay.
key here is communication. Don't
Yes.
shy away from the creditors. The key thing is to contact them and see what can work out. And if
Yes.
possible, I've seen where you had an obligation to pay a certain amount a month, and because
Mhm.
maybe the loan is at a different level now, and
Right.
the circumstances have changed, they might actually adjust the amount
Yes.
of the payment,
Yes.
something that you
Because
can
of the
actually
hardship. Yep.
afford because of your
Mhm.
hardship. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's good stuff. So communication is definitely a key, especially
Yes.
especially when you want to protect your finances if you lose a spouse.
Yeah.
One of the things that's dear to me too, when losing a spouse, is I always say evaluate your insurance needs. Um, what you'll have and what you'll need for insurance will change dramatically when you lose a spouse. Now, if you get life insurance, for instance, hopefully you've done it the correct way, and the amount that you will inherit was enough to cover your expenses in the event that in this type of event that something happens to your spouse prematurely. And
Right.
that's what insurance really is. Insurance is really all about you planning to replace that income in the event that something should happen to your spouse.
Yes.
It's
Right.
not necessarily to get someone rich or leave even for your children. Now, it depends too. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and to share personally, my mom, she's on a different type of income now that she's retired. And for a while, she was struggling to pay for this insurance premium. And I said to her, Mom, there's no reason for you. I know you love us and you want to leave us something in the event that you die, but my sister and I, we're grown women now. We take care of ourselves. There's no need for you to struggle to pay a premium so that we can have hundreds and thousands of dollars in the event of your death. We no longer depend on you for your income. So how about you adjust the amount of life insurance you have to reflect the actual cost of burying you? That's all that we would really need so that we wouldn't have to worry about that. We
Yeah.
just
So in
need
other
the
words,
cost of burial.
you're not being selfish and having your mom overspend on a policy just to leave you some money.
Just to
When
leave
as
me some
long
money.
as you take care of yourself, then just as long as she'll be able to be put away respectfully.
Yes,
That's all you need, right?
yes. So, it's one thing if you're still caring for children or something of that nature, or like if I had a little sister and my mom was up in age and I had to prepare for her, but my sister and I, we're grown now,
Right.
so she doesn't need to struggle with this absorbent, insurance premium payment when she doesn't even need that much no longer.
Right. Okay, I
So,
understand.
yeah, and
Mhm.
it goes the same thing with the spouse. If your
And so
spouse
those who are
has,
watching, I'd like to ask you guys to hit the like button or heart button if this is something that you didn't know about. Just let us know. Give us some feedback. I know you're watching, but give us some feedback that this is something you didn't know or you didn't think about. We'd love to know what you're thinking in terms of what Rosalie's talking about.
yeah, so the same thing with the spouse. If once your spouse passes and you have grown children, you no longer need to have as much coverage as
Right,
you thought you would. So
right,
those are some of the things that you need to consider. Also, health insurance. It happens quite often that the spouse was the main source of the health insurance, either from their job or something of that nature. And so what happens is basically the spouse is gone and it's possible that you won't have any health insurance. Now, there's this wonderful little facet included in somebody's health insurance. It's called Cobra. And what happens is you can continue your health insurance through Cobra. Now, the
Yeah.
downside of Cobra is that it can be very
Expensive.
expensive.
Yes, very
Okay,
expensive. Yep.
very expensive. So hopefully you've considered that when you were planning your purchase for your life insurance, so that they can have that or some
Right.
other type of alternative health insurance should you need it or should they need it in the event of someone's death. Um, Cobra is excellent if you can afford it. It can last up to 36 months, 3 years, so that's good. But the downside again, it can be 102% of the cost of the plan.
Got it. Well, we don't want to go too long today. We've got some plans for you guys to get some real good, deep information into your financial life, whether it's personal stuff or business stuff. And you know that we're planning. If you don't know now, you're going to be, you're going to be hearing about it from us. Our Financial Fridays live workshop, we've gathered 7 experts in the fields that they're in and brought it all together for everyone to share their knowledge with you. We all know someone who's not really where they want to be as far as financially. It could be a family member or a friend. Share the opportunity for them to come and get some real good knowledge to get them back in focus with what's important to them and put them on the right path so that they can thrive after the loss of a family member or whatever their business is they're trying to start. They'll be able to know what position they're in right now and how to get on track if they're off track. And so they can kind of move forward with this. We don't need to be stuck nowadays. There's a lot of information out there for us. We're going to have some lunch there. We're going to bring together some experts that will be able to answer your questions. You don't have to be shy. Share it with your other family members. If you don't need it yourself, share it with your friends. Get your tickets. Get your tickets now because we are selling tickets fast. We want you to be there. And so I want to share that again. The Financial Fridays Live, you can buy your ticket on Eventbrite. You can go to the FennellGroup.biz and get your tickets. We want to see you there. It's not just a bunch of talk. We're not going to waste your time. You're going to be glad that you came and that you'll walk away with some powerful information for yourself and for your friends and your family. So please do show up on March 27th at the Pikesville Hilton. So go ahead, Rosaline, I'll let you go ahead and close out. I wanted to get that in before we run out
Yes,
of time.
definitely. Just to interject on the Financial Fridays Live, it's there for you. And sometimes you may feel like you just need a little change, something in your life. And I'm sure you're going to receive that from one of the experts there, if not all of us combined.
Yes.
So you can also look at my Facebook page, the Gordon Group Financial Services, and you can see the link for Eventbrite and purchase your tickets. They're only $50. It's not a huge expense to get yourself to a road to financial freedom.
And
Okay.
we call it investing in yourself as well. The money will be investing in you. And I think that this year, 2020, is a good way to focus on you and focus on where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do and what your goals are. And we're here to help you.
Okay, I'm Rosalind Gordon.
And I'm Barbara Fennell.
And thank you for joining us for another segment of Financial Fridays. Talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend.